I want to make sure we are live. I think we are live. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. I just want to make sure. I'm going to check my page to make sure I am there. Facebook be doing me dirty sometimes. So I need to confirm I am live. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, here we go. Good afternoon, everybody. If you don't know who I am, I'm Chandra Brooks, founder of the Powerhouse Academy and the Powerhouse Women. Welcome to episode 6 of the Powerhouse Podcast. All right. This is all about building a profitable movement. If you don't know already, that's what I'm all about, is really having one foot in the community, one foot in a profitable business, so then we can give, and be huge contributors to our community and really make some real impact, because without money, it's really hard to do that. Okay. So if you join me, say hello. I've been so thirsty all day. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm going to be drinking my water, and hopefully somebody else can bring me more water because I am thirsty right now and I feel like my mouth is dry. Anyway, welcome. I want to talk today about my story. And some of you might not know, some of you might know my story. If you've been following me for several years, since 2017 and even before, you'll know part of my story, right? Or I share bits and pieces, or even how I started. There's a lot of people that knew me from the community, knew me from my jobs that I had previously, but everybody has a story when it comes to business, right? When it comes to a purpose, when it comes to a mission, we all have a story. And one of the things that I do with my clients is really share your story. You don't realize, sometimes you don't even realize how huge sharing your story is. Once you're able to share your story, then people connect with you. People connect with you and they want to buy from you. They want to utilize your services. They want to know more about you. They want to buy your book. They want to do different things with you. So it's so important that you connect with people in a deeper way and you share your story. So today I'm going to share my story because I want to be an example, as always, to everybody here. Okay. Everybody on social media that is shy, that is scared to share their story and feel like your story is irrelevant to your movement or whatever thing that you're trying to do in your life, right? Whatever big thing that you're trying to do, your story is huge. And sometimes you have to start sharing your story before you even launch that business or launch that thing that you're trying to do. You have to share your story. You have to start talking about it online. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. So in 2017, I was the Northern California staff director for SEIU USWW. That was United Service Workers West. This is SEIU, of course. If you are in the union, if you know anything about the unions, you know that SEIU is one of the largest unions in the world. All right. And they have different groups and whatnot. But this was in Northern California. I was the staff director, overseeing all the staff and the organizers, and working very closely with all the members of the union. All right, which the members of the union were janitors and security officers, majority Black and Latino communities that were part of this group. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, right? It was like an activist job with a good salary. And I got a lot of great experience in organizing, in movement making, in contracts, and understanding the dynamic of unions. Before I worked there, I had no experience in unions. They basically recruited me. I was the business and community development director for Job Corps, and Job Corps is a government program that is privately ran by private companies that have government contracts with the Department of Labor. And I was the business and community development relations director here in San Jose, in East San Jose, and I was there to share the best hidden secret, I would call it, because if you don't know about Job Corps, you need to, because you could probably refer a child, a cousin, anybody, nephew in your family that could utilize Job Corps. But Job Corps is a great program. I called it like the military college combination, right? You get to live on the dorms, you get trained in a vocation, and you get cafeteria, you get free food, free healthcare. It's crazy. It was crazy, but I love that program. So SEIU recruited me and took me from Job Corps and brought me into SEIU. And although I loved all these jobs, right? And before Job Corps, I was with SJB Child Development Centers as their development director, right? And what a development director do is they write grants and raise the money. And I raised several millions of dollars, a lot of money, for that nonprofit. And it was a subsidized childcare in the community. So even before that, I was in other community roles. So anyway, those were the last 3 jobs that I had before I decided to jump into entrepreneurship. And during all those years when I was working, I also got recruited to be a commission on the status of women and girls. So I was vice chair of the commission on the status of women and girls for several years. And what a commission does, if you're unfamiliar, okay, if you watch this and you want to get more involved in your community, joining a commission, it doesn't have to be that hard. And I actually help a lot of my clients do it because the people that come work with me, they really care about their community, but they have a business as well. So for example, one of my clients, Fanae Rogers, she owns an in-home care business, right? At-home care business. And a caregiving business. I don't know why I'm saying that. A caregiving business. And she is very passionate about seniors. So I coached her and helped her get on the senior commission. And then I have other clients that are on other commissions that they care about, or, that's tied to their business. And the reason why it's important to look into sitting on a commission, because the commission advises elected officials on those issues. So I would advise, as the vice chair and as a having a seat on this commission as a commissioner, we would advise the board of supervisors on issues affecting women and girls in the county. Anything, everything that affected women and girls, right? We had committees. We would put in resolutions. We would put in suggestions. We would advise. We would, give information. We would handle things. We would do forums, conferences, different things focused on women and girls. And as you know, I'm all about empowering women. So that fit right in to who I was. And I was the vice chair for several years on that commission. And we did some great, amazing work. And you meet some amazing leaders and some amazing people. So the people that usually sit on commissions are already leaders in companies or in organizations that have some influence in the city. So it's important. I tell my clients, it's like, to get on these commissions, you're going to meet some great people that could possibly that you could connect with and make some really strong relationships. And this is how I've built all my relationships that I have, right? People ask me, how do you know all these people? How are you connected to all these people? I know somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can help you. It's through these boards and commissions that I sat on for a long time. Okay. So I was on the commission for a long time. There was some drama. All right. When you are on a commission with a lot of women, there's going to be drama. There's going to be power trips. There's going to be all kinds of situations that come about. There's going to be people that don't come to meetings ever, that don't contribute to the voice of the commission. And you're wondering, why are they even wasting that seat? Let's get somebody else in there. But also, you're going to have backstabbing. You're going to just not be able to get things done because people can't agree on stuff, right? So that was part of me wanting to kind of resign and move on, because I was like, look, I can't get anything done. I want to make a big difference. I want to do some major impact. But when we can't even push the needle forward because we can't even get on the same page, or we're like split in the middle, you know what? I'm going to go create my own lane. I'm going to go create my own movement. And that was one of the reasons. Okay. That was one of the reasons. I had also been on a few board of directors for nonprofits that weren't really serving me, right? I served them many years, but they weren't really, it was like almost, it was just like, we just met just to meet. Okay. We would just sit there and go through the agenda, just go through the motions, and it wasn't effective to me. Right? If you are somebody that wants to create some serious impact, you're going to get very frustrated and you're going to get disappointed because you can't move things forward, because it's just not moving. You're going by somebody else's rules. Um, I see. It seems like you're, oh, really fattened. I don't know. Can you go? I don't know. You can't. Let me check my Facebook page because this might be true. Yep, it's locked. I don't know why it does this. It's locked. It had it locked. So I was the only one watching it. I don't know what StreamYard is. Fatten, let's get on StreamYard and ask them why. Can we figure out why it's doing that to me so maybe people could watch me now? I'm not locked anymore. Let me see. I got to edit privacy. It's public now, but it's still showing locked for me. So let me see. Okay, it's open now. Thank you, Fatten, for catching that. But it's open on my public. I don't know if it's open on my group and in my business page, but at least I'm open here now and I've been talking to myself. So the dilemma is, should I start over or should I just keep going? If you are just getting here, I've been telling my story for the last 10 minutes and realized that I was on lock. I was on private on my page, so nobody else could see but me. And I don't know why it was set that way, but StreamYard has been funny that way and putting the settings directly on private when I go live. So anyway, go back and rewind and watch the beginning. But anyway, I was on boards of directors, right? And I resigned because, like I said, it wasn't serving me anymore and we weren't being effective. And for anybody who has some purpose and likes to be productive, I'm not doing that. So I stopped, right? All these things, all these had to do with factors in why I went to entrepreneurship and I decided to launch that big idea that I had. You know, it was all these issues going on at the job, frustrations on the job, frustrations on boards and commissions, cattiness, backstabbers, all these things, right? People wanting you to do a whole lot of work for free without giving you recognition or giving you support like you deserve, right? Why give all this genius for free, right? And I'm not saying not to volunteer. I think that's important, but some of us overly volunteer. When you're gifted and talented, you need to monetize that and then you can give, right? And then you can give, or you're just going to be depleting. You're just going to be letting, pouring from an empty cup if you're not getting filled up. So I was like, why am I doing this, right? Why am I giving all this genius to organizations that weren't really focused on what I thought was necessary and needed to put out there in the world? And then I was 38 years old, and I don't know anybody else who's been 38, 39, and you're about to hit 40, and you're like, I got to do something with my life. Although I had awards, I had, a great job, I had a great career and a great resume and a bio, I still, deep in my gut, felt I was meant to do something bigger. And I know a lot of you feel the same way, and you're too scared to move. And I hope that my story inspires you to take action and move. I promise you're not going to die and you will be alive at the end. When you do all the actions, you do all the things, you're still going to be breathing. Everybody's still going to be alive. Nobody's going to die and nobody's going to get hurt. So do the work, okay? So I was 38. I was like, it's now or never. Now I wish I was 38 again because that time went by way too fast. But it was now or never. I was going to do this and go all in or not do it at all. So I said, I'm going to hire a coach. And I was already following some coaches online, and I seen a coach that said, let me be your personal escape artist. Leave your 9 to 5. I was like, oh, yes, I'm contacting her. So I reached out to her, and her name is Tessa. Reached out to her, and she helped me create my first vision of the business that I was going to create, right? The book, she helped me build the book, right? And if you haven't ordered my book, and if you don't know my book, I don't know why my collar looks funny. It's Black, Brown, and Political. Get informed, get empowered, and change the game. You can buy it on Amazon. But I had a vision because before this, I was also doing trainings on sit at the table or be on the menu. Because of being a commissioner, I knew the influence that one person could have being a commissioner, having a seat at the table, having a seat at decision-making tables, what that means, how much difference you can make. And I wanted to teach people that. I saw by volunteering and being a part of campaigns, getting the right people elected, how important it was for our communities. Because I can tell you that everything has to do with politics. Your makeup, your food, the streets, your houses, your taxes, your money, everything, your jobs, everything is tied into politics. So as people of color, we need to know, we need to be connected to our local politicians, our local politics, and understand who we're electing into office, right? And I've seen that a lot of these elected officials were dependent on the money. They were dependent on the people with the pockets, and those people with the pockets had their ear. Those people with the pockets could sit down and have lunch with them. Those people with the pockets could sit at their table at events. They had access to decision makers that make decisions for y'all. Okay? I paid attention to this and I said, oh, that's how it works. Okay. So we need to have some money and some influence. And that's what I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to write this book because more people need to understand how to get involved, how to volunteer on campaigns, how to get the right people elected, why that's important, all these things. So I wrote the book. It's a short book, Black, Brown, and Political. Get informed, get empowered, and change the game. It's on Amazon. Go get it. Go get it because it's a great read. I had my 65-year-old aunt read it, and she's like, I learned so much in the first 5 pages. And she's 65 years old. That's not good. That is not okay, right? To not know this little bit of information that I'm sharing. This is why I wrote it. So anyway, I was out in the community doing sit at the table or be on the menu. I was doing these trainings to teach people how to get on boards and commissions, right? So I was like, okay, I'm gonna write this book. And then I was thinking, okay, what can I turn this in? How can I turn this into a business? And the first name that I had for my business was The Socialpreneur. Okay, The Socialpreneur. That was my first name of my business. And it was because I was an entrepreneur and I was, in social causes. So I combined the names and thought it was cute and creative. And I had the little logo with my picture and it was a little cartoon logo. And I remember, and I want to give you all this tip because I remember when I launched my podcast, I launched my business and I did my logo and I did the name, The Socialpreneur. I spelled it wrong. And if you guys ain't heard me before, I talk about being perfect, right? You're going to spell things wrong. You're going to have the wrong grammar and people might judge you for that. But honestly, you can't let that bother you. Things are going to happen. I remember I had somebody ask me, they're like, did you mean to spell that way? And I was like, yeah. I just lied. I was like, yeah, I did. Right. And I know I didn't. But it also taught me a lesson that because I had clients, I had paid clients. Like you can still make money regardless if you make a mistake on a spelling on your logo, if it ain't right, like just move. Because at the end of the day, it's not about my spelling, it's about my skill, right? It's what I can bring to the table for my clients. So anyway, don't sit on perfection, y'all. So I did that, wrote the book, and then we were saying, okay, what kind of services are you going to offer? I was like, okay, I wrote grants. I knew how to write grants. I knew how to raise money, right, for nonprofits. I knew how to do community development and community engagement. So I'm like, I'm going to do all these services, consulting services, and I'm going to show people how to do all these other things, right? But it just didn't stick. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right. So anyway, I transitioned from that coach and then I got a higher coach because let me tell you, after I got a taste of having a coach and it moved me and I took action and things started getting done, I was like, I'm not living without a coach anymore. Although I'm very ambitious, right? And a lot of us are. I needed somebody to hold me accountable. I needed somebody to say, okay, we're going to meet on Tuesday, have this and this and this done. So we can move the needle and get things done. And not just talk about it and plan it and write it down. We're really going to take some action. So then I hired my second coach because I said, okay, I know I built all this, but I still need a solid product or service and I need to price it and I need to know how to sell it. So I hired a sales coach. I hired a very amazing sales coach that helped me create the Powerhouse Academy. We were talking about and we evaluated my life and my career. And she would say, Chandra, what is that thing that people come to you for all the time? And I had to think about it. I would have women in my inbox all the time. Chandra, how do I get connected to the people you know? I see you at galas. I see you talking to these influential people. How do you do that? How do I get on a board and commission? How do I get on, how do I know this elected official and these galas and these charities and all of this? How do I do that? And I never even thought about it, because what I can tell you is when you are great at something, you're not thinking about it in that deeply because it comes easy to you. But what comes easy to you doesn't come easy to everybody else. So she was looking at my resume. She was looking at everything I've done. She Googled me and she was like, you're a powerhouse. You're a powerhouse, Chandra. That's what the program name is going to be. It's going to be called Powerhouse, and you're going to teach other women how to be powerhouses. So the whole Powerhouse Academy originally was, let me turn you into a powerhouse. Let's get on boards and commissions. Let's get on stages, right? Let's be influential in our communities, and let's make some real big impact. And those were my first clients. A lot of my first clients that started out in Powerhouse Academy are activists, are women that started movements for their children, like causes. They're doing online summits to focus on causes for their children. They started youth empowerment movements, Black Lives Matter movements in the community, books, writing books, helping people, starting a publishing company that helped people write books to share their stories of abuse, to share their stories of discrimination or whatever. I mean, my first initial clients are very purpose-driven entrepreneurs. And that's exactly where that came from, the Powerhouse Academy. All right. So we did that, launched it, and since then it's evolved, right? Once I learned how to create a successful business and make money doing this, that money that I never imagined that I could make, I was like, wow, I want more people to know this. I don't want to hold all this information to myself. Why would I want to hold all this information to myself when I could share it? And one thing I've learned about being an entrepreneur in these internet streets is that there's no competition, because there's plenty of money out there for all of us to make. We don't have to worry about sharing information or, competition. Look, watch what Chandra's doing. I'm going to do what she's doing. And I could tell you, I've had people just hire me so they can copy what I'm doing. And it's a shame, but they do, right? People will hire you, copy all your shit, and try to go run with it. And what I could tell you is I don't even care. I don't care, because nobody's going to do it like me ever. So I'm not worried about it, right? And a lot of us are worried about putting our idea out there because we don't want people to steal it. So we're just going to hoard it inside of us for the rest of our lives and take it all the way to the grave. Is that what you're going to do with that idea? You're going to take it to the grave, right? So you're more selfish than impactful. I really want you to think about that, because I'm telling you, there's people that have come to work with me and they're like, oh, I just don't want to put it out there because I'm scared somebody's going to steal the idea. That's what you're worried about? You're worried about something scary? Then you're really not about making impact or changing the world or whatever you're trying to do, because you're worried about what people think, or you're worried about what people's going to take from you. You're more worried about that, but that's just an excuse of fear getting in the way, a reason to not move forward. It's not true. It ain't real. It's not real. So anyway, Powerhouse was created. And since then I've done 16 cohorts of women. Hundreds of women across the country have launched businesses of purpose, right? And profit. So imagine if I didn't move. Imagine if I stayed where I was. There's nothing wrong. And I see people do it all the time. I still have colleagues that are in the communities and they're giving of all their time, but they're not doing what they desire most deep down in their gut. They're not building that big vision. And it breaks my heart, because I can't imagine if I didn't. What if I didn't start Powerhouse and all these women didn't launch their businesses and their movements. I have women that have started big Facebook groups, 80,000 members in a Facebook group of women who are taking action in their communities. Those 80,000 and all the action that they're taking in their communities was a direct flow of me starting Powerhouse. So I could even say that my impact has hit thousands and thousands and thousands of women around the world, right? If we really want to get technical with it. So if you think about your idea and your movement and the big idea that you have, what change is it going to create that's bigger than you? Because it's bigger than me. This is not about Chandra. It's about sharing and giving courage and being an example and being a leader, right? God said, Chandra, this is your duty. You're going to go do it because I need you to show other people that they can do it too. And during all this building and everything that I've done, you guys already know I had a child in prison. I was flying back and forth, sad every day, crying myself to sleep, many nights, dishing out a whole lot of money to have a child across the country in prison, in a state that wanted to give this person, my child, 25 years for a nonviolent crime, first-time offender, in a racist state. I had to fight, but I was able to fight because I knew how to fight. And where did I learn how to fight? From my community training. I was vice president of NAACP for a few years. I even ran against the president of NAACP. Some of y'all remember, y'all were there. It was funny times. But all that has built this, right? It's built me. It's made me stronger. It's made me more resilient. It's made me really understand what's going on in the community and how our money can really impact and why we need to make more money. More Black and brown women need to have deeper pockets. So then we can we can't just have strong voices. We can't just be the loudest ones in the room. We can't be the strongest ones in the room. We have to be all of that plus deep pockets. Imagine what we could do. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being abundant. And that was a stigma, a situation that I had, was leaving nonprofit and community work and then charging money to work with me, right? Charging high ticket, charging, good amount of money for people to work with me. I felt guilty. I couldn't price my stuff for a while at a higher level because I felt guilty. And a lot of y'all feel guilty. Y'all don't want to charge. You want to give your services for free. You want to volunteer. And then you're broke and you can't grow the business. How am I supposed to grow my business if I give discount prices? I'm not the Dollar Tree. Why do I have to be the Dollar Tree? Why do I have to give a discount of all this intellectual property? I've invested over $50,000 in coaching. Visibility coaching, sales coaching, scale coaching, marketing coaching. All of that has totaled $50,000. And some of y'all are scared to invest $500. But you want to be a millionaire. You see how that's backwards? You want to invest little bits of money here and there, but you'll go buy everything else. But you won't invest in you. And what I learned at the end of the day, I was the hottest commodity. I was the best investment in my family. I had the vision and the idea. Some of y'all feel you're the black sheep and you're different than your family because you have this big vision. You don't think like everybody else. And that's probably true. You probably are. But you can be that person but not take any action on it. There's nobody in my family, nobody doing anything like I'm doing. Nobody in my in my inner circle doing anything like I'm doing. It's very unique. Do you stand out of the crowd or you blend in? What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Right? That's really up to you. So I wanted to come on here and share my story so you guys could see the backstory on why I do what I do. Right? And hopefully it ignites you to take action finally. Right? And if you want to learn how to do that, my masterclass link is in the comments of this live. Go watch my masterclass. It's 90 minutes. Take some time to really go through it and see how I built this. See the layers that it took to get here, because I can tell you it wasn't just hiring a coach. It was mindset. It was getting in a strong mindset to keep going, because I could have gave up a long time ago. I can tell you my first year in business, I made $17,000. Do you think you could live in San Jose, California on $17,000? I was going to go get a job at Instacart. That's how bad it was. And then I hired a sales coach. I just invested. I took big risks when I had no money to. Because I knew at the end of the day, I'd seen the vision. It was very clear to me. It was just how am I going to sell it and how am I going to build it? So I need people to help me do that. So I invested in the coaching and the support to build it. I already knew what I wanted it to look like. And some of you need that help, but you're trying to figure it out on your own and you can't. So you're spinning your wheels and years are passing by and you're not getting anything done and you're not taking action. You got to get it done. You got to do it. You got to move forward. So that's my story. But the reason why you need to share your story is for the same reason. You're going to inspire somebody. My story inspires the masses. Everywhere I go, people tell me I'm inspiring them. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to tell you that you can be impactful in a huge way by your story. By your story. I just try to share so people could relate. Because I was a teen mom, right? I barely graduated high school. I walked across the stage pregnant. I didn't even want to go to college. I went to college in 2012, 2013, just to get a degree, just to say I had one. Now, I wish I never did, because really it hasn't really done much for me. But, we all feel like we have to go to college because somebody said so and it's so important. At the end of the day, I wish I had put all my money in coaching early on and launched this business a lot sooner. But your story is important to inspire people that look just like you, that are just like you, that are going through the same things that you are and feel like they can't do it. And whatever that thing is festering inside you, it's there for a reason. It's not by accident. That idea that won't go away, it's not by accident. You need to take action. It's your duty to take action on that idea that has been sitting in your gut for a long time. Sharing your story is impactful. You can ask all of my clients, by just sharing their story, how that not only impacted them, like, wow, I didn't know my story was significant enough to change somebody's life. And it is. It is. I promise you it is. So share your story. Get the help you need to build that big vision that you have, because God wouldn't give you that for no reason. It wouldn't be sitting in your gut for no reason. Go after it. Take action. All right, everybody. You guys have a blessed day. Thank you for listening. This is going to be on all our platforms. So go listen in. Go check out my masterclass. The link is in the comments. I'm telling you, we now have our business school for social entrepreneurs is now open, right? You have access to coach with me. You have access to all my videos and every training that I've done for the last several years. You have access in that school. So reach out to me if you want to join the school. Watch the masterclass. You're going to learn about the school, but you're also going to learn all the layers I had to do in order to get here, because it took a lot of layers. And my masterclass talks about the layers it takes, because I feel like my business is a house. How many layers and all the tools I needed to build that house. You need tools. You don't just jump and have a house, right? It's just not there and just throw it all together and it's there. It takes layers and it takes a lot of tools and resources to make it happen. All right, everybody, I got to go run to my scrub business in Oakland, my store, and handle that for today. You guys have a blessed day, and I'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye-bye.